Y'all, I just finished the Bible study and I'm telling you, this was so good. Y'all know how I get. I gotta share it with somebody. Look, I ain't gonna take up too much of your time. I promise you, it's gonna be worth it, okay? Just hear me out. So in Luke chapter 10, Jesus tells us the story of the Good Samaritan. And you may have heard this story before, but what I'm about to show you may change the way you read it forever. So in verse 25, we have this man who is identified as an expert in the law, okay? Now these experts didn't like Jesus. They didn't fool with him. The only reason they would even talk to him was to try to catch him slipping. And that is exactly what this man was trying to do. The expert stood up and said to Jesus, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Now see, that's why you gotta slow down when you reading. You done already missed something. Now we've already established the relationship between these experts and Jesus. They ain't like him. So when the expert says teacher, that isn't a term used out of respect. It's being used like sarcasm. It's almost as if he's saying, "Hey sir, since you know so much, what do I have to do to inherit eternal life?" It was a test. Now before asking his question, what did this expert do? He stood up. See, most people overlook that part, but it's actually very important, because if you didn't already know, you're about to find out what happens when you stand up to God. Watch how Jesus responds. Jesus says, "What is written in the law, and how do you read it?" Now, what do I always tell y'all? If God is an all-knowing God, why does he need to ask questions? Because God's questions aren't to find answers. God's questions are to reveal problems. And the problem here is, this man was considered to be an expert, but he was asking questions like he was an intern. So in other words, Jesus is saying, I know you claim to be an expert, and in order for you to be an expert, you have to spend a lot of time in the Word. So what I want to know is, what do you know? Because I'm not fascinated by how long you've been in the church. Just because you've been going doesn't mean you've been growing. And just because you've been reading doesn't mean you've been reading right. To that the man responded, well, it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. And love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus says, you have answered correctly. Do this and you will live. Now please don't miss this, because it seems simple but it's actually complex. Jesus said do this and you will live to somebody that's already alive. So what does that mean? It means the life you want to live is on the other side of the action you have refused to take. See, only 3 of y'all caught that, because most of y'all think Jesus is only talking to this expert, when in reality Jesus is talking to you. Jesus is saying, I know what you claim to be, but from my examination, you're not what you think you are. You've become an expert in the memorization of information, not the application of information. If you would simply do what you knew, you wouldn't have to dream about the life you want to live. You would already be living it. It's obvious that you know the information, but it's even more obvious that you know